This week's episode of I've Got Nothing is brought to you by lotion. Lotion is great for a lot of things, but primarily if you're very, very old and wrinkly and gross. Lotion will help you look not so old and wrinkly and gross. So next time you take off your magical necklace and look yourself in the mirror and you see your true self, consider lotion. What is this podcast called again?
I've got nothing.
Who came up with that?
Your father.
Ah, shit!
Game of Thrones. The series that ignited a nation is discussed weekly by two nerds. One, seen every episode completely immersed. The other knows nothing about the phenomenon. Each week, they discuss, debate about what they know and what one doesn't know. This is I've Got Nothing.
Welcome to I've Got Nothing, the most unnecessary format for a podcast since Lost was on the air. I'm Colin.
I'm Alex.
And this week, we are starting the first of our post-new season episodes of Game of Thrones. We are discussing Season 6, Episode 1, The Red Woman.
Yep, and to reiterate there, like we said before, we're going to start watching each season as it is as a capsule. So starting from Episode 1 going to the Season 6, and the next season we'll start Season 5, Episode 1, and work our way
And
through.
hopefully that will provide something of an interesting conversation, considering each season as an individual film leading up to what Alex already knows.
Yes.
I'm Colin. I've seen every episode of Game of Thrones, and I've read all the books.
I'm Alex. I've now seen Season 7.
You've seen and one episode of Season 6.
Yes.
So I don't know how to go forward here other than to let you drive the conversation, because you met a ton of characters that you do not know and were introduced to in my opinion, a totally different world than what you were introduced to a few weeks ago when we started Season 7. This was, in my opinion, the most traditional Game of Thrones episode that you've seen yet, in terms of it just showed you a bunch of scenes of the various characters, all very unrelated to each other, with kind of one storyline getting the 2 or 3 scenes to sort of be the through line of the episode. So I'm going to let you drive this. What happened in The Red Woman?
Well, to pick back up on what you kind of mentioned about, and that's what I was excited for in our format here, of everything kind of seems new. This doesn't seem like a building upon of anything. This completely seems like I know nothing about this. I feel the same way I did at the beginning of last season.
I mean, I'm going to argue that other than the Jon and Daenerys relationship, when we start Season 8, the world won't feel that different from what it was at the start of Season 7, which is part of the problem I had with Season 7. However, the world at the start of Season 7 and at the start of Season 6 is radically different, and you are in for quite a ride in terms of narrative.
Astoundingly, I have a lot of questions of the points we're at right now to the points we're going to get to. First of all, our main character, Jon, is dead.
Is he?
Apparently, which I need to know about exactly how that Jesus transaction occurs.
Well, he's dead, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, if
he's dead, he's dead.
Apparently.
Obviously.
Apparently. That was actually, when we were watching it, I go, who is this random? Oh, so Jon seems to be very dead. Sir Davos and I guess the cavalry, I'll call them until I figure out their name.
Okay. They said some of their names in the episode, but I'm not going to hold it against you to miss it.
Yeah, I think we've noticed from Season 1, it takes me out 4 episodes.
Most of those people have been staple characters for the entire series.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of given that you know their names. So
That's
it's
what I
not
figured
against
as much.
you. What if I told you that all of Season 7 was a punk and that Jon Snow has been dead this whole time.
Psych. Ashton Kutcher comes in.
I commissioned the production of a fake season of Game of Thrones where Jon Snow was alive to trick you.
The whole con. You hired all of the actors.
Yes, I did.
And also the writers
and
to do the after.
I spent $100 million on a shortened 7th season.
That's around $11 million each. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Anywho, so yeah.
It's more than that. Way more.
11 million?
For 7 episodes, that's $77 million. You're missing
right. Yeah, 33.
million.
Wow. Sorry, I thought it was 8 episodes and 88, and I was around. But it's not quite 12.
Closer to around, about that.
Anyway, I was being generous. So then, they take in, and he's just kind of dead. Sir Davos and the Lady in Red come up, which.
The Lady in Red is in the titular Red Woman.
Yes. You want to hear my pronunciation I have right now for it?
Yeah, give it.
Mius Andra.
That is surprisingly close, but still drastically wrong. So congratulations.
Cool. Lady in Red. I like her name.
Lady in Red. Lady in Red.
So then we go over to the town hall situation, which apparently is of the Night's Watch. I guess they're. I don't know what the Night's Watch is.
You don't know what the Night's Watch is? That could be a problem watching the show backwards, because it's very important at the start of the show and kind of just diminishes in importance throughout the show, to the point where you might have realized in season 7 you never understood what that was.
Was there any reference?
I do not believe there was ever a reference to the Night's Watch in season 7.
Do you think they just kind of swept it under the rug?
I think so.
All right. So yeah, apparently the Night's Watch killed our boy Jon because he didn't think the Night's Watch was helpful or useful to any benefit, and they were like, "Yes, we are."
Wrong, but continue.
That was my take I got from, or that he wanted to stop the Night's Watch.
Less wrong, but still wrong. But you're building all off of context here, so I can't blame you for not quite understanding.
It's grasping.
It's grasping. What you understand is that Jon Snow is dead and that his comrades killed him.
Exactly. And then we go over to Sansa, where we go through her running through the north.
So what's going on there?
I really have no idea.
You skipped a scene, actually.
Did I?
Yes.
What scene did I skip just
There was
then?
a scene in Winterfell with some characters that you don't know.
Did I?
Yes.
I do not have it written down. What scene was this?
We had a dude with kind of tangly black hair talking to an older dude who looked like Daniel Craig's older brother.
Oh.
They were discussing things. You missed all of that?
I mean, I didn't grab a lot from it.
That's okay. All right. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll get to it eventually.
Eventually, that'll be something that I address.
So move forward then.
I knew Sansa. So
you knew Sansa. Who was with Sansa?
I can't remember that dude's name.
But you know who it is.
But I've seen him in the last season.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
That's sad.
I know.
But what happened?
It's been a long time since last week.
Oh, last week, yeah.
Terrible.
Well, I mean, really been 8 days because we're recording this on Monday and we recorded our last episode on a Sunday.
You don't have to tell them that.
But
so Sansa's running through the woods, and I guess I'm trying to grasp who she's running from, and my
that scene I just mentioned to you that you seem
clarified that
totally forgotten might help with this context, but continue.
I think I got a text message at that time.
Oh,
I wasn't on a good behavior at that point. I'm sorry.
It's okay. They're not important characters or anything.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately Sansa ends up north. But anyway, so yeah. What I did like seeing there was with Sansa running up, getting attacked, was blonde lady, not Dany.
Do you know her name?
I don't know her name.
They said her name in the last season. You don't know her name?
They said it one time in the one scene she had. Oh, sorry, she had 2 scenes.
No, they said it in a different scene that she wasn't in.
Oh.
Tormund's all about that.
She had 2 scenes total.
All right. So blonde lady rides up, and what happens?
Kicks ass. Absolutely.
Ass.
I see why now in the later seasons y'all were very excited to see Arya and her meet up.
Yes.
And why that was important and awesome. Because, oh my god.
Fun fact about the blonde lady.
Yeah.
You know the Chrome Stormtrooper from The Force Awakens, Captain Phasma?
Yeah.
That's her.
Can we call her Captain Phasma?
Captain Phasma. Yeah, that's Captain Phasma.
I'm just gonna call her Captain Phasma.
Future star of The Last Jedi, presumably.
I'm just gonna keep calling her.
She's
Captain
awesome. I don't care that she got thrown down a garbage chute. Because you know what? Harrison Ford died in that movie and she didn't, so...
You're about to ruin something for only a select amount of people.
For the one person who didn't see Force Awakens when it came out 2 years ago?
You know, some people have just been busy.
Anyway.
So yeah, then we move over to Cersei, which the way she's holding her hair, it looks like that's a fresh cut. For her new hairstyle.
That's a very astute obviously for you. Because she had the same hair all last season. You didn't really comment on it.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, usually you don't film people touching their hair. It's not usually seen.
All right. It's interesting to note of you.
Cersei's plot point is that she really enjoys her hair.
Continue.
Anyway, and then Jaime rolls up, which I now learn for his one of their dead children.
What's the dead child's name?
They said in the post episode. I didn't write it down because
that's a
I'm
bummer.
a terrible person. But I think my reasoning for that was because she was dead.
Dead child, okay.
Didn't really remember the name of her. And the one thing I did like about this, and what I really did enjoy about this scene was I actually saw Cersei who cared.
Yeah.
And had emotion.
Yeah.
Other than just rage.
Just being a straight up bitch.
Yeah, just a human.
Well, yeah.
That was a weird scene for me.
I mean, she lost a child, and
yeah.
I assume you could pick up that it was news to her at the start of the episode that her child had died.
Yeah, that was definitely the bit, and she wasn't just rage and hate. She was mourning, and she was showing a lot of emotions that in season 7 were not news.
I'll tell you this now because I know you won't remember it in 10 weeks, but episode, I was of the opinion for a long, long time that what made Game of Thrones good was that every single episode capitalized on and improved on the previous episode.
Yeah.
So that even with the big event episodes, the episodes following it continued the drama and the momentum of the story. That stopped at the season 5 finale.
Yeah.
For me, the season 5 finale felt like it was 10 cliffhangers all happening at once. And this episode that we just watched was the natural resolution to many of them, to the point where you wonder, why was this episode not just the season 5 finale?
Yeah, and not the penultimate episode.
And the big argument for that to me is the Cersei Jaime scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got you. Actually, a side bit that I want to reverse back to in the very first fight is with Captain Phasma. Phasma, sorry.
You're already messing up a name.
I added T in there.
I mean, you're staying on brand with these names. So
yeah,
continue.
exactly. That was the first time I've ever seen a fight scene that wasn't just that wasn't just over the top.
Yeah.
It was a good, I just enjoyed it.
It was just straight up sword fight. It was, I'm not going to say her name, and the other guy, whose name you also don't remember, fighting off some dudes.
Yeah.
Some sword violence.
It was good. It was just fun.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that. In season 7, every single episode was just
this big blown up event.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah,
because it's,
totally.
The last season, but it was
second to last.
Second to last, apologies.
Okay.
And then actually, this is a great time to speak for our sponsor. Our second sponsor. Yeah, I got a second sponsor. In order to keep this podcast going, I want to make sure we're still making money.
Absolutely.
So this one is the Boat Morgue. They specialize specifically in carrying bodies in boats to specific locations. They don't really have any other functions, but if you specifically need a small boat to travel a short distance with a dead body in it, reach out to them for any help.
All right.
Yep.
So what happens after the Jaime Cersei scene?
We see prison with 2 people I do not know about or care about.
Do you recognize one of those people?
I did not I was trying. I really was.
A very famous up-and-coming actress in that scene.
Did not recognize
her
them.
Her name's Natalie Dormer. She's been in a lot of stuff in the last couple of years.
I've seen her name around.
She's very attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I've seen her name around. And
do you have anything to say about that scene then?
I'm gonna put a pin on it and see what happens.
Okay. What happens next then?
And then let's see. Oh, we go to. God, I can't obviously can't remember her name. But the girl who dies of poison in the... wow, if people are watching this sequentially, we're going to ruin a lot of things for them.
I think that the majority of listeners have seen Game of Thrones.
That's fair.
It's a bit of a big deal. And
is it?
If you're listening to this without having seen Game of Thrones, stop.
Yeah.
And maybe check out the series. I'm not saying you should. It may not be for you, but maybe don't listen to a podcast that spoils the show.
The whole point of this is, yeah.
Yes. This is all about you. We don't care about anyone else but you in this conversation.
You're so sweet.
Thank you.
God, but they're in, what is that, Doran?
Very close, but continue.
Doran, I don't know.
I'm going to give you a pass because it's not called Doran, but Doran is the name of the leader of the country that you saw get knifed.
Yeah.
In this episode.
Yeah, so he gets totally stabbed.
So I want you to elaborate a bit, because imagine that this is a character that has been around for many, many seasons. Has had a vital role in the aspect of the series, and your first experience with him is him getting knifed and killed.
Oh my god, I totally thought he was a B-rate character.
No, he is, but he's been around for a while.
No, I just thought like he'd been here from like maybe an episode, like he had a scene.
No, he was a big deal for a good chunk of the series, and
so that was a big deal.
Your first scene with him is him getting shanked, and then they go and shank his son.
Yeah, they did. That was violent. But also, I understand why I should respect her in the last season, and what it meant for Cersei to kill her.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is that? Okay, so in the previous season 7, all that Ilaria was to you really was she was kind of like this hot woman that was on a boat who then was immediately captured and poisoned to death in front of her daughter.
Yeah.
But now you get to a sense of like, oh no, she actually was. She made significant moves.
Yeah. She was pivotal again, and I guess, and you could probably say the same about Doran as I continue watching that. Except I seem to like her more. But my question is, does that now make her queen? And what I want to see more of.
Well, you don't know her relationship to the crown.
Exactly.
Of Doran, and I'm not going to tell you what that is.
I figured as much. I mean, that's my implication, is that somehow she does become in that role because of what we do know from season 7.
Of her kind of being in charge of that sect of the army.
Exactly.
Regardless of how quickly they get wiped off the board.
Yeah, which now kind of upsets me thinking about that right now. Like, that's kind of a wasted storyline. Because they kind of...
I think you need to see the past 2 seasons to understand that it's not. But you haven't, so you don't.
Exactly. Cool. And then...
Little kid fights the 2 women and gets stabbed in the back of the face.
Yeah, that was... Don't know any of that.
I mean, that was a pretty classic Game of Thrones season opener where they're like, we need something kind of big and shocking to get the season started, so we're going to just straight up kill these 2 characters that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, that was...
You haven't seen. We've seen.
I've seen any 3
and kill them
characters.
violently.
Yeah, that was cute, though. That was fun.
But what comes after that?
And then we have my guy.
Your guy.
No.
You have a guy, Sajora. Speaking of not knowing anyone's names, Sajora and some other dude, who I'll give you the pass on here because they don't say his name in this episode.
Yeah.
But you should know him if you've been watching the show in order, which you haven't.
Yeah, so that doesn't really help
So what's his deal? What's his deal?
That doesn't really help at all. They were just kind of walking around. Wait, did we jump? No, yeah.
Dorne, and then they... Oh, no, we do jump, because there's a scene with Tyrion that...
Yeah, Tyrion and... they were just kind of talking a little bit about the...
What's the other guy's name?
Area. I was avoiding it, okay?
Did you learn something about him in this episode?
I didn't learn a single thing.
You didn't learn anything?
No.
They kind of
the no cock.
Yeah, he doesn't have a dick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought that was... Is that important to the plot?
Did you know that before?
I didn't know that before.
Yeah, I think it's important to know like who has a dick and who doesn't in any given scene.
That is just a general gist of this show.
General gist of the show, understand who has a dick.
Okay, I'll take notes.
He doesn't have one. You don't know his name yet, I'm not going to tell you, but Tyrion and the other guy, they have a scene.
Yeah.
Do you get a sense of what's going on there?
Yeah.
Or where even we are, because we're far removed from anything you've seen.
Yeah, I've never seen that land before. I've never seen... My implication is that Dany kind of took it over, and then it looks like she was captured, so they don't really have anyone really ruling them right now or doing anything. Yeah. So they're kind of in this... What they're worried about is more or less the kind of it... what do we do right now? Because there's no leader. And trying to survive through that. So that was, I don't know, it kind of seems like, I think a big part of what Tyrion was at the very beginning of season 7 looks like it's beginning at the season 6, which is just like, he's planning. Like, he's doing a plan, and so it kind of looks like we're back right where we start. Well, in reverse order, where we started. And trying to make that happen. And
that takes us to Dany.
Yeah, and then that takes us to Dany, who's a current prisoner by the Dothraki. That's the first time I think I've said that name. But I think I nailed it.
Yeah, you did. That's probably the first time you've gotten a name right on the first try.
I'm excited.
The wife is clapping.
I'm proud. Yeah.
So what's going on there?
I mean, Dany's captured, and she's a scene with, I guess, King Dothraki. He said his full name.
You know who? Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the bit that I'm curious about here is I know because of popular culture and because Game of Thrones has just been around that she was married to and also because of what she said in the scene, that she was married to another Dothraki.
What was that dude's name? What was the dude's name?
I didn't catch it.
She said his name.
I know.
It was written in subtitles.
It was in subtitles too. Isn't that amazing? How you can catch that and not catch that?
Yeah. What if I told you that her husband is now Aquaman?
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Ex-husband, I guess. He's
but she said she burned him.
Yeah, he's not around no more.
Yeah, I wonder why she burned him. I'm curious. I'm honestly curious about that. But then, in which case,
bit of a wait for that answer.
Really?
Yeah. We're in season 6. That's a long ways away.
But my question to that also is if she was queen and he got burned, did they exile? Like, I have a lot of questions about this relationship dynamic because why is she then prisoner of it when she was queen?
That's a good question.
And that's something I kind of want to follow through with.
It's a question that I feel like even in this season you'll get something of an answer to, but you won't get the full story until we go way back into this series.
Yeah, but that's something I'm really curious about because I know at the season 7 she has the Dothraki army.
She absolutely.
So I'm also curious to see what that transition looks like because in my mind at the start of it was she was queen and then like her husband died, and so then she kind of inherited it. But it doesn't feel like that's actually the case.
I guess we'll have to see, won't we?
I know, exciting.
So what comes after that then?
Cool, and then we see Arya.
Good with a name. What's her deal? Homeless. It does not mean poor, but sure. What is she doing?
She's begging for money, and she's blind.
Yeah.
So I need to see the transition of blind to unblind.
Consider where Arya was at the start of the season that you saw previously to where she is now. You have some questions?
I mean, it actually kind of motivates me more to see her whole entire arc because realistically for all of last season 7, she murdered a family and then just kind of hung out in the north.
And then murdered Littlefinger.
Yeah, which is cool. But that took a lot of episodes to build too.
It did. Even in a shortened season. It did.
Yeah. And so like, I'm very curious to see how she can go from poor girl who can't fight, poor blind girl who can't fight, to clear seeing girl who can kill an entire family.
Yeah.
So I'm actually very curious about to see what that looks like. And then finally we go over to is it Red Lady or Lady in Red?
Red Woman.
Red Woman.
Again,
sorry,
the title of the episode is The Red Woman.
The Red Woman. Absolutely. And Jon's still dead, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
And then they get a knock on the door from the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
Saying,
who is talking to them?
They said his name and
a couple of times, yeah.
Twice. And like I said, 4 episodes I think is a fair range. I'll get better at it as we watch more seasons. I promise you that. And they threaten that if you don't give up now, there's going to be a war. And it looks like by the next episode preview that will be following through. So I'm curious to see what that fight is. And also what happens to Jon, as I know he's very much alive.
Is he?
Who's to say?
This episode was a huge deal because they slowly started weaning off and getting ahead of the show. Because I don't know if I've told you this, but the books are told in fragments. So every chapter of the books is through a different character's perspective.
Okay,
so,
I didn't know that.
Like, you'll have a given book where, like, you have some Arya chapters.
Yeah.
And you have some Sansa chapters, some Jon chapters, some Theon chapters, some Davos chapters, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
This episode was more than any other, the first episode where truly everything that happened in it was ahead of the books.
Okay, so this is the first launching point off.
Yeah. Season 4 and 5 got ahead in some aspects, but there were still some things that had happened in the books that hadn't happened yet.
Okay.
This was the first episode where everything we were seeing was new, regardless of if you were a fan of the books or not.
Yeah,
and it was pretty exhilarating, and this season's pretty exciting, so I'm excited to really get into it.
Fantastic.
What predictions do you have for the next?
I got some real easy ones.
There are 9 episodes between where you are now and where you started this show 7 weeks ago.
Cool. So next episode or in general? Because I got some really easy ones I can knock off the board.
Like what? What?
Jon revives. Arya becomes not blind. I feel like those are just some like layups.
Deep, that's a pretty deep bet, but
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how that turns out for you.
And then from there, gosh, now that I can see the future, I am Bran.
No, don't bring that up. He's in the next episode,
I saw that.
So
I saw the preview.
That.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I dislike you so much.
Bran, don't be. He sucks. He's useless.
He really has. For someone being able to see the future, I can't reiterate it.
Hi, Sam. I know everything. Oh, Bran, you know everything? Did you know that Jon was a true-born Targaryen? No, I didn't know that. Useless.
That's him. That's pretty accurate.
No Bran and no Sam Tarly in this episode, so that makes for a good episode, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what happens with Sansa and where she goes.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand how she's sitting cozy in season 7.
She's not, though.
I mean, she's like ruling.
And I think season 6 will help you understand like why those of us that had seen the show were not surprised by the big turn in season 7 that we saw in the last episode, because by this point in season 6, she's been through so much that she's not the stupid, naive girl that she was when the series started.
Well, I'm kind of interested to see like how we're doing it, of how she where she was.
Her development might be the most interesting of any's in the show. Jon is pretty static.
Jon seems static.
Jon and Daenerys and Arya are all pretty singularly focused from episode 1 on. Sansa is the one character who really kind of shifts in terms of how she is and how she goes about doing things.
All right. Cool. Well, those are the most interesting ones. Cersei, I kind of just presume she's just going to turn more evil.
Oh, man, she's not evil. She just got kids that she care about.
I know, which makes sense, and I'm happy to see more emotional Cersei.
Very true.
I'm very happy to see more dynamic Cersei, and like something that matters. So it's easy to paint her like a bad guy in season 7. So I'm excited to see more of that.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's all I had for this week.
That's all I have for this week. So this has been I Got Nothing. I've been Colin.
I've been Alex.
And we'll see you next week.
Ciao, ciao.